Mini JCW Challenge. At point of manufacture, this car was 9 grand more than a standard JCW and supposedly originally limited to 100 units on production, but only 53 were ever made. In terms of numbers, that makes this car pretty special. I want to find out, how special is it to drive? Let's find out.
The winner is Car Right!
So let's start with the interior, which is probably the most boring part of this car. And if you're put off by the lack of features or the lack of the visual radio boost that you can get on some other JCWs and Minis, you're completely missing the point of the car, and the car's not for you. So let's start with the vehicle itself. Well, in fact, there's 3 pretty cool, funky features that the previous owner had spec'd from Mini themselves post-production. That includes the Alcantara and genuine carbon fibre steering wheel. On that note, we've also got a carbon fibre gear selector and handbrake as well. So I think that bodes and just themes really nicely into exactly what this car is about, and it's an absolute track weapon or B-road weapon. On the front of the dash, the all-important number 8. Some of you more eagle-eyed viewers would notice on the front of the vehicle, the plate states UK08 JCW, pointing to the fact this car was number 8 of production, so 8 of 53 ever made in the UK JCW. Interior features, it's got enough creature comforts to keep you going. It hasn't got nav, it hasn't got anything to distract you, but it's got enough for you to live and just get day to day with and by. Rear parking sensors, Bluetooth, cruise control, aircon, DAB radio, electric windows and mirrors, USB aux. But apart from that, that's as far as it goes, because what I want to show you under the bonnet is where the car gets really exciting. Obviously, it's got mini drive mode select as well. But let's take a peek under the bonnet and find out why this car was worth 8 grand more than a standard JCW. So when we have a peek underneath the bonnet or hood, depending on what side of the pond you're watching this video on, we're met and greeted with that all-important twin-power turbo that's synonymous with BMW Mini. That engine produces 228 brake horsepower with 321 newton meters of torque. 0 to 60 is about 6.3 seconds, 153 mile/hour of top speed with a combined MPG of 44.8. However, Harry, if we just look in the corners here, as we can see, this is where the car gets pretty exciting and spunky. Now, that is nitrogen suspension, 25 level adjustments available to you on that as well. It is the absolute wet dream for car nerds and anoraks. You can tweak and play with this car to your heart's content. You can also alter the ride height and camber, but the car is already sat pretty low and the camber's at -3, which is pretty aggressive. It's actually 20 millimeters lower on the front than a standard JCW and a massive 40 millimeters on the rear. That's why this car is worth a little bit more money than a standard JCW, because my God, is this car fun to drive around the bends. It is like an absolute go-kart. I hate that phrase. That's exactly what it is. Let's show you now. So before I get too excited and show you how well the vehicle drives, I want to touch on a couple of the features on the exterior of the vehicle. The first ones being these really good looking 17-inch Team Dynamics alloy wheels. They are lightweight. They actually shave and save 1.5 kg unsprung mass per corner. The brakes themselves are 330mm drilled front discs with Brembo calipers and Mintex pads, so the car itself stops on an absolute dime. Harry, if you walk around to the back of the car, there's loads of carbon on the wing mirrors. Firstly as well, I can't believe I've not mentioned it yet, the car's got full body PPF. Full PPF all over the vehicle, so the car itself is in immaculate condition anyway. If you took the PPF off, that mint is absolutely pristine. These are genuine upgraded Union Jack lights, and I think they make this car look absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the colour contrast of this is absolutely gorgeous. In the sunlight as well, this car looks the absolute business. That big JCW twin exhaust on the bottom there looking really, really good. We do have the JCW Bluetooth exhaust as well, so the right valve opens for a little bit more noise and a couple of pots and bangs. Yeah, I mean, how good does this car look? Let's give it a spin. So I am pretty excited then to put this Mini through its paces, and we're quite blessed where we are up over Wiltshire for some stunning B roads, and I think that's exactly where this car is going to excel. Yes, because it's 220 odd brake horsepower and 230, it isn't going to be setting any records down Santapod, but it's not meant for that. That suspension and that chassis and how tight this vehicle is, around a B road, I think I'd struggle to think of a more fun and usable car, because I've mentioned this in a couple of videos before, it's great having 400 brake horsepower monsters, but on the tight windy roads that we've got up here, and certainly for me, I live in the outskirts of Bristol, and I love going over to Brecon and the Black Mountains, and you just can't quite have usable fun in big brake horsepower cars because the roads aren't forgiving or don't allow it. And I think in the harsh reality of the UK, something like this is absolutely perfect, and that's what I want to find out today. Now, the first thing to note is how stiff and brilliant this car takes the road and handles the road. There's so much grip available to me that's completely and utterly set from that nitrogen suspension and that pretty aggressive lowering and negative camber front and rear, and it's just an absolute wicked amount of fun now, this car. Yes, it's the old cliche, it drives and handles like a go-kart. That's the Mini feel, that's the Mini experience, and that's what they pride themselves on. And my God, does this car deliver. It does have also downshifts. It is a manual, and I'm not convinced on that. I quite like a little bit of heel and towing. Yes, I'm not Jenson Button or some race driver of old, but it sort of maybe takes away a little bit from the experience, but then sometimes on a busy road or on a track, it's one less thing to worry about. You can just enjoy everything else the car has to offer, which I guess is quite a nice perk as well. I sort of maybe did the interior a little bit of injustice. I really like the steering wheel, and I really like the seating positioning. The seats themselves are brilliant. They're really tight, and that's exactly what you need, because as I said, there's so much grip available to you with this car. You're just so planted and also pretty comfortable as well, so it's a really nice compromise. You can definitely live with this car day to day. Yes, it's obviously a lot stiffer than your usual JCW, but I'd imagine if you tweak that nitron to the softest suspension, I reckon we're pretty harsh. I haven't tweaked it, but maybe I will and just see the difference between the two, but I sort of want it a bit harsh because that's the point of this car, isn't it? You want to be able to thrash it around some B roads and really get to know the limit and enjoy what this car has to offer. The power band delivery itself is pretty good, and there's a really sort of good tone and noise to it as well. So fast apparently I can't speak, Harry. But yeah, it does have a nice note, and obviously it's got that Bluetooth exhaust with that valve open, just gives it a little bit more tone and noise, and a couple of those more sort of like pops and bangs that you're more used to with the Mini, which I think is a really good fun addition. Car itself has been superbly well maintained. As I mentioned, it's got a full body PPF. It's got 6 service stamps across the history as well, so it's been superbly well maintained. We actually got it off a gentleman who part exchanged it against a 488 Pista, so that just goes to show you the sort of clientele that have looked after this car and owned it before. I'm pretty smitten with the vehicle, actually. Yes, like I said, it isn't going to blow you away on 0 to 60 times, but on a B road there isn't too much to keep up with it, in my opinion. Right, so we're at a bit more of an open B road where I'm really going to start to open the car out and get an idea and understanding on what she's got. There's a good amount of torque lower end, but it picks up really nicely. Towards the top end, it sort of drops off, so you almost want to change a little bit early, almost want to get a short shifter on the vehicle. But the first other thing really to note is that Quaife LSD. It is an absolute dream. You can get on the power so early out of the corners without any concern or worry. It just tightens up everything. Your whole driving experience is so much faster and much more fun because of it. Wow, I mean, we're going to plant it here and I'm going to accelerate straight out of this corner. I mean, there is no drama at all. We were on the power so early across that then. Wow, that's good fun, that is. Like I said, I was really anticipating this car to be wicked on a B road, and it certainly hasn't matched, as we are with any country road or B road in the UK. Traffic, can't avoid it, nothing you can do about it. On that note, the brakes stopped well, didn't they? We knew that was going to be the case with those Brembo calipers, groove discs and those maintained pads. I didn't know actually the car has got Pilot Sports on the front, not Cup 2s or Cup 3s, I think Cup 2s I think originally. Now, the original owner discussed this with us actually and suggested in the UK, not that you've probably not noticed because you live in the UK, we get quite a lot of rain. And the Cup 2s on the front, he said, were a little bit So the Pilot Sports are a lot better. So that's the reason there's pilots, not cups on the front. And he said it's made a world of difference for your day-to-day driving. So that's the reason why some of you Eagle Eye viewers might have noticed and say, oh, I suppose about cup 2s on, but it doesn't. And it's for the better, because you still get all the grip, and you're certainly going to get that level of grip in the wet as well. I think that about sums it up for me, Harry. So I reckon we'll just do a bit of an outro now. So my summary then, let's wrap up this JCW challenge. As I mentioned, this car is number 8 of only 53 ever made. Based on numbers, that makes this car something pretty special. I wanted to find out whether it's equally as special to drive. And my God, did this car not disappoint. It is heaps of fun, as I mentioned. The steering, the setup, the suspension, the camber. That Quaife LSD is phenomenal. You can get on the power so early. On a B road, there isn't too much more fun to drive than this. It is wicked fun. I can only imagine how much fun this car would be on a track. So capable, heaps of performance, certainly through the bends. If you're a car enthusiast, you like your cars, you like driving cars hard, this is a phenomenal car for you, and something I would strongly suggest looking into. These were 32 grand new. This car is currently sat in the market at £26,000. It's 2017 as well, so that just goes to show how strong the residuals are, pretty much as you'd expect with the limited run of numbers. I've really enjoyed my time in this car. I wish I could spend a bit more time in it, but as I mentioned, for a B road or a track, I don't think there's much better than this car, and that just about sums it up.